Most agents think hitting six figures takes luck, better leads, or a magic system, but the truth is it's built on 5 simple repeatable principles, the same ones that we've used and coach others to use to double their income. We call it the blueprint to 6 figures. And if you master these 5 foundations, I promise that you're going to add 6 figures to your business. No gimmicks, no shortcuts, just systems and consistency. Today we're going to do a deep dive into these 5 principles, which consist of an elite schedule, lead prospecting, skill building, 4 pillars of income, and your follow-up. So go ahead and grab a notepad because we're about to break down each of these 5 principles that drive real sustainable growth. The first one's going to be your schedule. And Chris, you do as good of a job as anybody that I know with your schedule. So why don't you go ahead and take people through what that looks like, why it's important, what's involved, and how you go ahead and do it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Mike. Daily schedule is a structure, right? You want to create a non-negotiable framework that drives consistency, productivity, and gets you results. If you got to have a disciplined schedule, that's going to create freedom. If you just let your schedule run wild, you're now at the mercy of your schedule, rather than if you stay disciplined, that's going to create freedom to do the things that you want. Without control of your time, you're never going to control your income. Structure is what's going to protect and keep you focused from distractions and ensure that you spend the time on the dollar productive activities. So what's involved? Time blocking. We always talk about and preach that you want to be proactive in your mornings and reactive in the afternoon. And that's going to follow up with some of the things that we're going to talk about a little bit later here. Creating boundaries around your appointments, around things that you know are going to give you the highest return on your investment in time, such as prospecting. Create it and stick to it. Don't let something else get in the way. If you had a doctor's appointment, you wouldn't be scheduling something else during that time frame. Whatever those big things are in your business, you have to stick to those. Even if you think it's flexible, you have to stick to that schedule. And then every day and or week, you should be looking at, how am I doing? Am I staying on track? Should I move things around? Is this not conducive for my workday? Am I not being as productive as I should be? So how you're going to do it, you want to build a perfect week calendar. So what does it look like? If you could have the ideal week every single week, what would that look like? Every single day, every single hour, what would that look like? Schedule the biggest rocks, the biggest return on your investment first. Prioritize that first in the day. So for example, prospecting, right? That's probably going to be your lifeline, your lifeblood of real estate. And so that's got to be one of the things that you need to do early on in the morning, because if you wait till later in the day, too many things are going to pop up and derail you. Use alarms, use your calendar, have an accountability partner. Stay consistent with that. Again, treat your schedule like it's an appointment. You wouldn't cancel your appointment with a buyer or a seller, so don't cancel your appointment with your time set up for prospecting. And stay to the end, because we're going to give you guys a perfect week scheduler tool. And so that one kind of led me into number 2, which is lead prospecting. We got to be intentional with generating new opportunities and having conversations on a daily basis that will lead to contacts. Without any leads, you're not having any opportunities. Without any opportunities, you're not getting any income. So prospecting, like I said earlier, it's the heartbeat, it's the lifeline of our business and everybody that's having a 6-figure income or 6-figure business. What's involved? You're going to identify what are the top lead sources that you want to work. You don't have to do all of them, just pick the ones that you're going to do. It could be working your sphere of influence, it could be doing open houses, it could be expireds, for sale by owners, referrals, past clients. Just pick what you're door knocking, pick what you want to do, and then stay consistent with that. Have a follow-up system in place and to make sure that you're staying consistent. Track your dials, track your conversations, track your appointments set and met. What are those conversion rates from each step of the process? And then how to do it. So you're going to commit to a daily lead gen. So blocking that time frame, right? We talked about schedules earlier. You're going to block that in there. No exceptions. You're not changing that for anything. You're going to stick to it. Treat it as an appointment. Use scripts and dialogues to build your confidence and build your ability to have a conversation and take general interest in the person that you're talking to. Mix active prospecting with passive. So it could be mixing calls or door knocking with social media and marketing. You can mix and match. You don't have to necessarily do 4 hours of prospecting all right in a row. You could do it at different times of the day. You could take breaks. You could do it for 45 minutes and then take a 15-minute break, or you could do a solid 2-hour stretch. Whatever works best for you, find that flow and stick to it. And then measure your results. So again, what's working from your actual scripts and dialogues to times of day that you're calling and the type of people that you're prospecting. So keep track of all that stuff. And again, at the end, we're going to give you a second bonus, which is a tracker to track all that daily activity so that you have success at the end of the day.
Yeah, Chris, that's great. I think of the schedule that you talked about first, and then the lead prospecting. Like you just talked about setting habits. And a lot of people just don't have the habit where they're going to wake up, they're going to start their day, treat it like a job, where they go into the office and they start prospecting and they like follow a cadence, follow a structure. So that's really big. So talking about building new habits, because when you lose the motivation, you're going to fall back to your habits. And if you build those habits that Chris just talked about, that's going to set you free in the rest of the day. Next, I want to talk about working on your business. So not as much habit forming, but working on your business. And the next one is going to be number 3, that's skill building. So skill building is the third foundational principle that we like to teach. This is where you sharpen the ability to communicate, convert, and close. This is super important because you guys, you don't rise to your goals, you actually fall to your skill level, okay? I know if there's something that you want, in order to get it, you have to achieve that through action, through skill. The better your skills, the higher your income ceiling. And so we talk about skill building, there's a couple different things that are involved in that. One, I'm a huge proponent of scripts. Scripts are a great way to get started. They teach you what to say it, how to respond to somebody else, and we have to master those scripts. Once you've mastered those scripts and you've internalized them, you can get away from the script because then it just becomes conversational. And when you've internalized it, it's going to have your own tone, it's going to have your own flow. Objection handling is something that we have to deal with through every phase of the sales cycle. And when you become really good at scripts and dialogue and objection handling, it's not that you're going to have to overcome the objection, because at that point you've actually removed a lot of the objections before they come up. So the real pros actually remove objections before they even come up, and they don't have to battle or debate them. And then getting really good at your presentations. Think about your buyer consultation, your listing presentation, your CMAs that you're doing. These are something that you should be practicing and getting them dialed in, and they should have a cadence and they should have a flow that you deliver it the same way every single time. Role playing is a big thing. We actually role play 4 different days in our office so that we get a chance to practice, okay? Athletes, sports, golf, musical instruments, like there's practice in every one of those things. We need to be practicing in real estate, and role playing is a great way to do that. We can role play conversations, we can role play appointments, we can role play negotiations, and make sure that we get a feedback loop in that so that we know how to tweak that so that we can get better. And then we always have to have an ongoing learning mindset in coaching. Go to that conference, get on a webinar, take part in a podcast. Get a coach. It could be a production coach. It could be a team building coach. It could be a leadership coach. By getting a coach, that's your fastest way to accelerate your growth, because they can remove the things that don't work and show you the things that do work. So I'm a huge fan of having a coach in your business and personal life. So how do we go about skill building? Well, there's a 3-step process for this. I like to call it learning, practicing, and then getting feedback. So you first have to learn the skill. Once you learn it, you have to go out there and practice it like we just talked about with role playing. And then you want to be doing that with somebody who's either better at that or is already where you want to be so that you can get feedback. Once you get that feedback, you're going to go ahead and refine that, learn it again, practice again, get more feedback, and keep rinsing and repeating that. I like to think of athletes when they come out of college. The elite athletes that come out of college, and right now we're in the football season, so I'll use football, but when they get picked or drafted by a team, they don't immediately start playing games. They go to like a 6 or 7 week training camp, and in that training camp they learn the playbook. They learn how to pace with their colleagues, the people that are right next to them, and whether it's a quarterback and a wide receiver or a running back. And then after practice they go back and they watch game film. And then they prepare for the season. So this is like a 6 to 8 week process. Once they get into the season, they play 1 game, and then after the game, they come back in and they go over all that film. So they practice the same 3-step process. Make sure that you always have a white belt mentality, okay? Think of martial arts, and the white belt is the lowest tier in the martial art family, okay? And then you're graduating up to the different belt colors, with the black belt being the elite. All right, have that white belt mentality. After 24 years in the business and being involved in over 3,500 real estate transactions, I'm still going to conferences. I'm still investing in a coach. I'm always looking to learn and take away nuggets that can help improve my business. I want to always be building my skill set. Be a student of the game. And then make sure you're getting your practice in. Make sure you're getting your reps in. I recommend doing it daily. And it doesn't take a lot of time. Like, dedicate 15 minutes a day to elevating your skill set, and you're going to see a difference in your business. One way that you can practice and get some feedback is to go ahead and record your calls. Go ahead and record your presentations. And when you're going back and watching it, use a 3-step process to take in that feedback. For your presentations that were on video, first listen to just the audio. Then turn the audio off and watch the video. And then rewind it and watch it again and pay attention to the audio and video. You're going to get different takeaways by doing that 3-step process. Ask a mentor, a team leader, your broker, ask somebody for some guidance that can help you level up. And then last is surround yourself with the right people, right? The higher producers. Get in the right rooms. Don't be the shark in the small aquarium. Be the goldfish in the ocean. Get around those people that are going to get you uncomfortable and help you grow. The next thing that I want to talk about is number 4. The number 4 foundational principle is your 4 pillars of income. This is, again, working on your business. 4 pillars of income, what that is it basically diversifies your business model so that it keeps income steady throughout the year. Okay, this is really important because most agents, they only rely on one source of income. And when that slows, their business collapses. So having diversification builds stability and scalability. When I'm out there talking to agents, I ask them, where is your business coming from? And the number 1 lead source that I hear is my sphere of influence. I say that's great, that's how it should be. However, tell me what you're doing, tell me what system you have in place, what process you have in place to intentionally drive business through your sphere of influence. And that's when they get really quiet. Most of them don't have a system in place. And so that's not really a pillar. It's an income stream, it's a lead source, but it's not really a pillar because a pillar is going to have a very defined system in place that's just going to repeatedly spit out business for you. Okay, so what's involved? Well, finding 4 different pillars that you're going to work. I mentioned the sphere of influence. Another common one is going to be past clients, where you have repeat and referral clients. Okay, if you are relatively new and don't have the past client book of business to work, then don't worry about this one until you start building up your pipeline of past clients. You have other low-hanging fruit that you could work too. You could work expireds or FSBOs, or you could work some online leads like portal leads, Zillow, Realtor.com, Homes.com. Or Google PPC, or social media. So there's all kinds of different pillars that you can incorporate into your business. Or you could focus on things that are tied to marketing and traction. Things like community events, open houses. It's really up to you to find the 4 pillars that you're going to be passionate about and that you're ready to dive in and build them out. And so how do we build these things out? Well, if you have 4 things that you're passionate about, just start with that. But if you're not sure how to find those 4 things that you're passionate about or that you're going to be good at, then use what we call a SWOT analysis. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Identify what you're strong at. Identify what your opportunities are. And if you don't know what opportunities you have, just engage AI. Ask ChatGPT, what type of opportunities do I have to generate leads or business for my real estate business? And then put those right online next to each other. Then look at your strengths. Let's say, for instance, you're really strong when you get in front of people. Maybe you don't like picking up the phone. Maybe you don't like making cold dials. But man, when you get in front of people, you're able to connect, build trust, and convert that to a relationship that lasts long term. Then you want to look at opportunities for that. What opportunities would align with those strengths? Open houses get you in front of people. Door knocking gets you in front of people. Community events get you in front of people. So line up your strengths with your opportunities, and you're going to be able to find 4 different pillars that you can build out. Speaking of building out a pillar means that you take that and you create an actionable checklist. Let's say, for instance, you're going to start with your sphere of influence. Build out an actionable checklist so that when everything is done on that list from A to Z, you have a very strong functioning pillar that's going to be able to provide the business to you that you need throughout that year. So let's just say you want to sell 20 homes in 1 year. Make sure that you build out a sphere of influence pillar that is so strong that by itself, you're going to be able to generate 20 transactions. Then maybe you want to do open houses. Build out another pillar so that it's so strong that you're going to generate 20 transactions from open houses. The reason this is important is because some of them might be seasonal, some of them might ebb and flow, you might lose one, but you have 3 other pillars that are there to support you. Now, in terms of dedicating the proper amount of time to it, I have clients that have done it a number of different ways. I've had clients that have wanted to build out 1 pillar per day. So one day, on Monday, they'll focus on sphere of influence. Maybe on Tuesday, they'll focus on open houses. Then on Wednesday, it'll be pillar number 3. I've had others that said, you know what, I want to dedicate the whole week to it. So the first week of the month, I'm going to do sphere of influence. The second week of the month, I'm going to do the second pillar. And I've had others that want to focus on it quarterly. They focus the entire quarter on one pillar. The next quarter they focus on an entirely another pillar. It's really up to you. Just find out what works for you. And make sure that you're tracking, okay? You need to create your key performance indicators for each pillar and track them so you know what's working, what's not working, what do you need to tweak, what do you need to double down on, so that you can make data-informed decisions. And then lastly, build automation wherever you can. AI is like evolving every single day. Use automation where you can. Use delegation where you can. If you have a VA, if you have an admin person, somebody else that can help you take that load of creating that pillar and help you move that thing forward.
Yeah, that brings us right into our fifth one. You guys probably noticed that all these tie together, right? Like what, they just keep building off of each other. The last one is follow-up. So number 5 in our webinar here is a little follow-up. So the process of nurturing every lead until they're ready to buy, sell, invest, or refer somebody to you. So the fortune is in the follow-up, right? You guys have to continue to follow up. Most agents are only going to follow up 1 to 2 times, but the conversion often happens 6, 7, 8, 9 attempts. And closings are typically going to happen after 34 touches. So the follow-up is key. You can never follow up too much. I've never had somebody say, hey, Chris, you're following up too much, I'm not going to buy with you, right? It's always been, I didn't follow up enough. That's where people get stuck and where they lose their opportunities. So what do we want to do? You want to create a database with organization and ranking. That could be ABC, it could be hot, warm, cold. You come up with a system or organization to organize all of your leads and all of your opportunities so that you're not missing those follow-up opportunities. Even better yet, you'd have a CRM or a system in place that helps you categorize all of those, helps you determine when you need to follow up, puts that in front of you. You can set reminders, set tasks so that you're not dropping the ball and nobody's slipping through the cracks. When following up, we don't know these people yet and they don't know us. And so the key point that most people miss is they might just try a phone call, or they might just try a text message, or maybe they'll just send an email because they're afraid to call or text. Until you know their exact preferred method of communication, you have to try all of the methods of communication. Once you know that, then sure, stick to calling or stick to texting, whatever their preferred method is. But until you know that, you have to call, text, email, do a video. You have to do all of those attempts until you know their preferred method of communication after you've connected with them. All of this combined we call database hygiene. And so again, how are you going to do all this? You're going to create a consistent follow-up plan for those lead statuses that I had mentioned earlier. Whatever it is, however you're going to organize it, ABC, hot, warm, cold, whatever. Create a consistent touch plan for that. Personalize the communication. Always be adding value. Don't just call to say, I'm just calling to check in, right? Always have something of value. You're not spamming, you're not dripping. Always provide value. That's going to help you in your follow-ups. And then use automation or smart plans when it's applicable to help you stay top of mind. It could be property drips. It could be, again, value add, market reports, something that's seasonality related. So something of value that you have. And then again, review that follow-up daily, not weekly. What did I miss yesterday? Who was I supposed to follow up with? Who am I supposed to follow up with today? Don't let it go a whole week without going back and taking a look at what we're missing or what's falling through the cracks. Okay, and then at the end, so I gave you guys 2 things that we're going to give you free. We're also going to give you the ABCs of lead management that we use to help 6 figures.
Yeah, Chris, thanks for sharing all that information. That's great. As you mentioned, we got some free giveaways that we want to give to simplify this and make this easy. I know it's a lot of information, but these tools will allow you to take it more in depth and really build it out. So the first thing is going to be that perfect week planner. That's going to allow you to build a schedule that aligns most with your goals and protects your time. The lead ranking process that Chris mentioned up and the follow-up process, that ABCs of lead management, that's going to allow you to organize, prioritize, and convert all your database into actual contracts. And then that tracker that you mentioned, that money-making activity tracker. It's important to know your numbers so that you can make data-informed decisions, so we're going to go ahead and include that in there. And then the actual blueprint, right? We gave you a really quick overview of this, but we have a 16-page blueprint that literally lays it all out and is an actionable checklist that you can literally go through and say, okay, what are the things I need to do to really dial in an elite schedule? What are the things that I need to do in order to develop my skill set? So we're going to send that out to you as well. That's all 5 principles that are in there. So you can get that by going to in realestate.com/guide. Otherwise, come back to this video as soon as this posts on Facebook. I'll go into the comments and I'll put that link in there so that you can click on it and you can download all of these resources right from there. So that's your starting point, my friends. Go ahead and implement these 4 powerful tools, these 5 foundational principles, and before you know it, you're going to have a repeatable, scalable system for adding 6 figures to your business, no matter what your business looks like right now. Have a great one.